Hey folks, and thanks for tuning in. So as we're all probably aware now, there's a lot of talk about Battlefield 3 going on, and there's going to be for a few months now ahead, before the game's finally released, the end of this year, hopefully end of October. But until then, we can't forget that Battlefield 3 still has plenty of life in it, and I don't think we can forget what Battlefield 3 has done, because overall, if we lay the chips down, it was a fantastic game. You know, we all wanted maybe a couple of things that could have been changed or could have been better, but overall it was a brilliant game, and I'm sure all of us who've played it will agree with that. The multiplayer component on Battlefield 3 is unlike any other game, and you can just put hours and hours into it and then jump back on and have a completely different experience the next time, and that's what makes it great. You know, there may not be any more DLCs coming out for Battlefield 3, but we've certainly been spoiled with the DLCs we have had, and there's still plenty of life left in those yet. So let's get on to the topic of this video. You know, I was thinking the other day about when I started playing Battlefield 3. You know, there are always certain memories you get from certain occasions or certain songs, and certain things you will always associate with events or times or, whatever that may be. I decided it would be quite cool to do some videos based around what I feel are my memories from Battlefield 3. Certain maps or modes or whatever that I will always associate with Battlefield and that will remind me of the very beginning. This time we're playing Operation Metro Rush. I've really enjoyed this gameplay that you've got going on in the background. Has some really good kill streaks in it. I think 2 separate streaks of sort of 15 plus kills. But it's what Operation Metro symbolises that this video is all about. Now, we all have a love-hate relationship with Operation Metro, I think. Some of us love it, some of us really hate it. There's probably some people in between as well. And most of us, I think it's fair to say, love to hate it. It's arguably the most hated map and the most loved map all at the same time. That's why Operation Metro is so weird. We hate it because it's so linear and it doesn't really represent what Battlefield is about. But then again, there are other maps that are fairly linear, but we still like them. Grand Bazaar is a very popular map. And a lot of people don't like Operation Metro because there's just so many choke points on it. It makes it very, very awkward to play. And that's one of the reasons, really. Now, you may like it, you may hate it, but the reason Operation Metro is so symbolic is because it's the map I played, and all of us played, the very first time we got to play Battlefield 3, way back in the alpha. You know, this was the map they chose to showcase. It was part of a lot of the trailers beforehand as well. And then when they gave us the alpha, this was the map they let us play. They let us play Operation Metro on Rush. And then when the beta came out a little bit later, it was Operation Metro again, much to people's disdain. But it's what we got, it's what we played, and most people came from the beta and the alpha wishing we'd had a proper Battlefield map, but still enjoying what they played. So it's kind of that reason, and not because of the quality of the map, that Operation Metro will always remind me of the very first time I played Battlefield 3. That time that I'd waited, we'd months before, we'd heard that it was going to come out, and the hype train's going, and you think, yeah, I just want to get my hands on it, and that first time you play it, you just think, wow, this game looks amazing, this is phenomenal. And you'll never forget that time. I don't think we'll get that so much with Battlefield 4 because it's not so much of a leap forward. You know, compared to Battlefield 2 and 2142, Battlefield 3 was a huge graphical leap forward, whereas this iteration isn't going to be. So I don't think we're going to get that boom, wow. But we'll wait and see. Now, for those of you who don't remember as well, when Battlefield 3 was in alpha, Operation Metro was exactly the same way it is now, but with one major difference. On Rush mode, when you start as the attacking team, on the very first set of MCOMs, you were given an APC to attack with. This was later removed from the game, and rightly so in my opinion. It really did make taking those first set of MCOMs a breeze. It really did. And you'd also find that a lot of people defending would just really, really focus on trying to take out that APC and not so much on stopping people from taking the MCOMs. And it really didn't balance the whole map very well at all. So they did make the decision to take it out, and that was a good idea. I mean, there's just not enough space for it. Because the right-hand side of the map is mostly water, The APC has only really got a couple of routes it can go down, and it just makes it a bit of a pointless endeavour, really. So they took that out, and the map was better for it. I think we were all looking forward very much to the beta for Battlefield 4. Supposedly it's going to come toward the end of this year before the release. And I hope we get that same feeling when we first load that up, like we did when we first loaded the alpha or the beta for Battlefield 3. Like I said, I don't think it'll be quite the same, because there won't be as much of a leap, but it'll be interesting to see how it looks and plays. And my main thoughts right now with the map layouts and how they work compared to the current ones. I think the gameplay is not going to be drastically different, it's going to be refined. I think the weapon play is going to be very similar. So the main thought in my mind is, how are the maps going to play? I want nothing more than to have a competitive Battlefield 4. I think Battlefield 3 had so much potential in esports, but it was let down by a couple of factors. One of those factors could be classified as the map design. You know, when you look at the main competitive maps in Battlefield 4 in terms of infantry 5v5, you had Grand Bazaar, Operation Metro, Sen Crossing, Damavan Peak, to name but a few. Okay, Damavan Peak, incredibly linear. If you got the middle flag and you were a good team, you should ideally be holding it. Same with Operation Metro. Same to a certain extent can be said with Grand Bazaar, but at least Grand Bazaar does have some reach around points and some loot points that can be used, so that makes it a better map. While these maps are all great, they weren't perfect for competitive play. Sen Crossing, in fact, was probably the best map because it wasn't just an A to B map. It was completely, you know, you had 4 points around the map and it flowed very well. So I'm really hoping that they put a lot of thought and research into maps in terms of how they're going to play competitively. I wouldn't even be bothered if the public maps are different from the competitive maps. You know, make public maps, make a load of public maps, and then have slightly different versions for competitive. I'm not saying they will put that amount of effort in, but that would be fine with me. I'm interested in knowing what you guys think as well. You know, what parts of Battlefield instinctively remind you of the game? Is it the theme tune? Is it the maps that you played during the alpha, the beta? Is it a certain map that you played when you first got the game? I know that some people didn't play the alpha or beta, so maybe you just jumped straight into the game and you've got different sort of maps and things that instinctively remind you of the beginning of the game. It could be single player, it could be multiplayer, whatever you remember most. I mean, a lot of people remember Caspian Border as like the tombstone, if you like. Tombstone's not the correct word, but you know what I mean, of Battlefield 3, because it was one of the maps that was shown quite a lot in the trailers and whatnot, and it kind of had that Battlefield feeling to it. So that was a big part of fans saw Caspian Border, and it's probably one of the most played maps today. But ironically, whether you believe it or not, the most played map on Battlefield 3, I'm hoping this is still correct, is in fact Operation Metro. That is the most played map on Battlefield 3. It is mainly due to people stat padding, or maybe not even call it stat padding. It's to do with people going on, playing on 64 player servers because they know they can get a lot of points from it and build up their ranks. It's not stat padding per se, but that's why Operation Metro is one of the most played maps, and that says a lot, really. It's not ideal to have that sort of map in the game, but it's there, and when played correctly, it can be a fun map to play, but it's certainly not the best. So there we have it, guys. That's my take on the first part of these Battlefield 3 memories. I've got a couple more in mind that I'm going to bring you over the next coming weeks, so stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay in the background. Like and subscribe if you did, so that I know that you guys are enjoying this. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.